World champions, past and present in San Antonio. We get into the packed week of boxing in Alamo City next. Please like and subscribe. Help us hit 10,000 subscribers. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to another episode of the Lone Star Roundup. Roy Jones Jr. promotion is absolutely exploding and is one of the biggest promotional companies in all of boxing at this point. And they were in San Antonio this past Saturday at the Scottish Rite Theater, which is becoming one of the best homes to watch the Sweet Science anywhere in the Lone Star State. Really, really excellent venue to watch a fight if you've never been there. The Scottish Rite Theater in San Antonio is absolutely phenomenal, beautiful venue to watch a fight. But Saturday night featured Roy Jones Jr., perhaps their biggest star, brightest star, San Antonio native Kendo Castaneda, Kendo Tremendo, streamed live on Facebook on Fight Night Live. And boy, did Tremendo put on a tremendous performance. Really spectacular and dominating performance and taking apart Gilbert Venegas Jr. over 10 brutal rounds. Venegas pulled an upset over another San Antonian, Armando Cardones, at the same venue back in September, just a few months ago. Venegas was trying to pull the Texas two-step, beating two locals in less than 3 months, but it was not to be. He was never really in the fight. He was never able to get past either the snappy jab or the straight right hand of Castaneda. That straight right hand that kid threw was absolutely money. I mean, heavy-handed, swift, and precise. Tremendo's right hand was really the story of the night. He couldn't miss with it. Landing it sharply and accurately all throughout the entire 10 rounds. Castaneda put on an offensive masterpiece. He's trained by former world champ Jesse James Leha. And Leha, this seems like a marriage made in heaven. Leha's got a hit offensively. He looks clean. He looks crisp. Throws beautiful, heavy combinations. And defensively, if there's been any issues with Castaneda defensively, look, he's still not Pernell Whitaker, but defensively he's getting a lot better. He still gets hit a lot. He's a come-forward fighter. He's a fun fighter, but he can also fight going backwards too. But he still gets hit a little bit. But I'm sure that will all improve over time. Leha, I'm telling you, from his last fight, when he was our 3D Boxing Fighter of the Week, looked great in his last fight, but right now his defense looks good. He looks sharp. He's not getting hit as much, and he's only going to get better and better. Kendo Castaneda, remember that name. I'm saying within the next 2 years, this kid will be a world champion. Really, an offensive masterpiece. There's nothing not to like about this kid offensively. And kudos to Gilbert Venegas to come out to San Antonio again, but another San Antonio native in hostile territory. Kendo, there was a chance of Kendo all throughout the night, and he responded to him, staggering Venegas in the 6th. And then the final few rounds all looked the same as Castaneda dominated the action with brutal right hands. Took a lopsided decision, winning all 10 rounds on one of the three scorecards and winning, I think, 8-2 and 9-1. So it was that kind of fight. Kendo Castaneda put a vicious beating on Venegas, who was game. And Venegas was game, and he stood up. In doing so, Kendo Castaneda captured the vacant WBA NABA super lightweight title. So he's got a regional belt in his back pocket, a major regional belt. In the post-fight interview, Castaneda said that he was ready, adding he wanted to fight anyone in the top 10 in the 140-pound division. He said anyone. He said that's up to Roy Jones Jr., his promotional company. But he said he's willing to fight anyone in the top 10. So I'm from Dallas, Texas. I had to ask this question. What about Virgil Ortiz? I would love to say, he said he wants to fight anyone. I said, can I suggest a name? What about Virgil Ortiz? I'm being from Dallas. I love both these kids. I think these kids are both going to be world champions within the next 2 years. And Kendo Castaneda said he's with Golden Boy. I would love to make that fight. But he's not in the top 10. He's technically not. Virgil Ortiz is very young, still very green. Hasn't had a whole ton of experience. And Castaneda went on to say he needs to get on my level. He needs to pick up a few more wins and get on my level. Well, maybe he does. But as a Texan, I want to see that fight. If you guys I'm sure you guys are familiar with Virgil Ortiz and Castaneda, but if you're not, go look him up on YouTube. Go watch some of their fights. Both of these guys are offensive powerhouses with knockout power and tremendous skill. But Castaneda knew if he got this win that 2019 was going to be a big year for him, and I think 2019 and 2020 and moving forward, he's still in his early 20s. He has a real bright future. In the co-main event, the incredible story of Luey Villarreal, the 42-year-old engineer, picked up a version of the ABF, the American Boxing Federation, middleweight title, in putting in a dominant performance over Michael Klakata and picking up a 4th-round stoppage. The San Antonio resident dropped his hands at points a la Roy Jones Jr. or Sergio Martinez and used head movement and reflexes and making Klakata miss one shot after another, and then countering beautifully with perfectly placed power shots throughout the 4-round destruction of the overmatched opponent. Again, he stopped in the 4th round, picked up the ABF middleweight title. Also in a main event, Xavier Professor X Wilson ran his record to 9-0 with one draw by handing in a masterpiece in outclassing Garcia Cruz. Wilson used his snappy jab, really long and tall, rangy, 130 and 135 pounder. This was in a featherweight fight. He came overweight at 132 or 133. He looked a little drained at the weigh-in. I got to talk to him. He said, yeah, he was drained. So I expect to see him, and I did an interview with him. You can check that out on the YouTube page, on the Twitter page, or the Facebook page, 3D Boxing Blog. He said he was a little drained, that he's going to be fighting at 135 from here on out. But this is a kid who had a pretty brief amateur career. He's a natural. I want to see him in a bit of a scrap, but he is so disciplined and so talented and really a student of the game. Beautiful combinations. He uses his jab. Like I said, he had the long jab, the long reach. He win, and then he wins the battle at mid-range. So he beats you from the outside and he beats you in the mid-range too. Wilson, he's only got the one knockout, but you can tell that he has some snap. He doesn't really go for the kill, so it might be one of those things where you have to show him, you have to show him how to jump on a hurt opponent and things like that. Because he put Cruz on Wobble Street in the 4th and final round with a perfect right hand. With one shot, boom, it rocked him. So, he's not feather fisted, even though the record doesn't reflect a whole bunch of power. It's not a good indication. He clearly he won all 3 rounds on 2 of the scorecard. He clearly dominated the fight, but he's a master of the sweet science. He really is. He's 9-0. We'll see how high he can go, but the future looks really bright for Xavier Wilson at 130 or more likely 135, as he said. The preliminary bouts featured a young, hot shot by the name of Richard Medina, who is rocking the Texas flag boxing trunks. Look real sharp. He's promoted by Prince Ranch Boxing and has former heavyweight champ Hasim Rahman by his side. He scored a 2nd-round knockout over Jorge De Leon to run his record just 2-0. But real good-looking prospect. Obviously, a lot of people think he's good. He's got Prince Ranch Boxing and heavyweight champ, former heavyweight champ who knocked out Lennox Lewis, Hasim Rahman, in his corner. Interesting bout, 47-year-old Christopher Martinez made his professional debut. He made a successful one in taking down 280-pound plus unbeaten Matthew Glover in just 2 rounds. So this was interesting. This guy, he's in phenomenal shape. Smallish heavyweight, but he says this isn't just the one and done. That he's going to stick around and have some more fights. Hometown legend Dogberto Brown Navarez continued his unbeaten streak against a tougher than expected Stetson Horn. Horn is of Elgin, Texas, and he was 0-2 entering Saturday's fight with Navarez and was expected not to last very long. I was talking to Go Promotions from Houston, Texas behind me. He was sitting behind me at the fight. I said, don't blink in this one. But Horn hung tough. Not only did he go all 4 rounds, Horn was successful in making it a scrap, right? So Horn would obviously want to make this thing, a dogfight, and he had moments. Navarez was looking to load up with the right hand over and over again, and Horn had a couple moments. He had a moment with a left hook in the 4th round. He made Navarez pay the price for loading up. But again, it was a courageous performance by Horn, but there's levels to this, and Navarez was levels ahead. Horn was a tough customer who landed a couple shots, but Navarez clearly outboxed him and took a clear decision. On Saturday, December 8th, moving to future events, Kendo Castaneda's brother, Jairo Castaneda, will battle Rashard Hicks in a battle of welterweight prospects. In the main event on the main event of season's beatings 2 last year, we saw that same place as it was last year, the event center in Round Rock. We saw Rashard Hicks battle Jonathan Steele to a fight of the year type fight last year at this same event. This year he will battle Jairo Castaneda. Also on the undercard of that fight, from Laredo, Texas, Jorge Ramos will battle Iskandar Karshan for the vacant World Boxing Council Youth Intercontinental Super Bantamweight title. So it's 122 pounders for a WBC Youth title. Speaking of Laredo, the night before, on December 7th, local prospect, local to Laredo, Jorge Castaneda will headline a card in his hometown of Laredo. The card will also feature light heavyweight Joshua Juarez and Nella Abregon. Oscar Cantu of Kingsville, Texas, will look to capture the ABF bantamweight strap against Leopoldo Martinez. Oscar Cantu was a top-notch 118-pounder for a long time. A real good-looking prospect coming up. He lost a real close decision to Roy Jones promoter Aston Palikday. He's been a little inactive since, but there's no question about the skills and the gift on this kid. Also on that card, undefeated lightweight prospect Jose Cardenas, also from Laredo, will be on that card and will look to improve to 4-0. So lots of good young talent in Castaneda, Cantu, and Cardenas on that card. In Los Angeles, 2 tough Texans locked up. 18-year-old, 112-pound sensation Bam Rodriguez took to the big stage in the Staples Center on the Wilder Fury undercard and gave a masterful performance under the brightest lights of his young career. Staples Center holds 20,000 on a pay-per-view card. Took a lopsided, unanimous decision over Houston-based journeyman Josiah Morales. And we saw Morales a couple of weeks ago, just 2 weeks ago, I believe, against former Olympian medalist Nico Hernandez. Nico Rodriguez. And he gave Nico Rodriguez a tougher than expected fight, taking him the distance and making him scrap. Morales came to fight, but was out of his league at the end of the day. I thought this fight was actually tougher for him. I thought this fight was... He got beat worse in this fight. Morales got beat worse by Bam Rodriguez than he did by Nico. So those Bam Rodriguez and Nico are 2 guys that are going to be on a collision course for each other, as both guys are really, really young. Both still teenagers, I believe. I think Nico is still 19. So those guys are going to make that interesting at 112 and 115 pound weight class for a long ways to go. But hats off to Morales for taking the fight on 2 weeks and making it a scrap. This guy, his record doesn't indicate how good he is, but he's a good, tough fighter. But let me know what you guys think. Remember to keep in mind those 2 cards coming up this weekend. If you're in the Laredo area on Friday, December 7th, at the Laredo Energy Arena, Sam's Auto Arena, check that out. And then in Round Rock, the Round Rock Center in Round Rock, Texas, if you're in the Austin area on Saturday, December 8th. But leave your comments, let me know what you think, and make sure to check out those prospects that we talked about. For the Lone Star Roundup, this is 3D Boxing signing off, saying thank you and God bless.
Enjoy 3D Boxing Vlog videos? Show us some love by clicking the like button. Don't miss a tweet, post, story, or video. 3dboxingvlog.com is also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hit the subscribe button now to stay inside the ring.